Welcome back to Franchise Wars reaction, recap, and review of Young Justice. This time, the episode Royal We, the second episode of the third season. We start off here with what's actually kind of a fun little callback to season two's Reach for a Reach commercial. Instead of doing the commercial for a drink, we do Beast Boy, who's apparently now acting on a Star Trek show, basically, giving us a public service announcement about kidnapped metahuman children, which does a good job of bringing you back to mind about the fact that, yeah, we're dealing with human trafficking for this season, which is still really, really dark.
On the Engager, if Clamulons capture our crewmates, we move heaven and earth to find them. This year alone, over 16,000 child and teen abductions have been reported worldwide due to the illegal trafficking of metahumans. Please, watch over your children. And if you see something, scream something.
Is that the same voice actor as on Teen Titans? Because that'd be cool.
Welcome back.
Meanwhile, at the UN, the Justice League has announced the resignation of all their members, and yeah, pretty much everybody can see from a mile away this is a bad situation if you're, say, a Lex Luthor guy who wants to keep restricting the League. We also get some fun cameos, not just from Garth, aka the original Aqualad, but also Donna Troy.
Thank you, Miss Colbert. It goes without saying that the independent nations of the world are deeply disappointed that some leaguers don't seem to believe in the values their league claims to represent.
Blaming the Justice League or its members is laughable. The ridiculous quantity of conditions, exclusions, limitations, and stipulations that this body has added to the League's charter over Atlantean protest have made it impossible for the League to do its job. Even humanitarian missions cannot begin without the unanimous approval of the Security Council. These policies are costing lives.
Of course, the Atlantean ambassador supports the league. It's led by an Atlantean and a Themysciran.
Bialia.
Has no Bialian hero been invited to join?
When Bialia produces a hero who is a
Ah!
convicted criminal,
Donna
perhaps
Troy.
the League will consider her or his candidacy.
That statement is an outrageous exaggeration.
Meaning it is largely accurate. Ladies and gentlemen, the true heroes of this world will do what they must to save lives, help people, and capture criminals. Regulations or no.
Then they are not heroes, but vigilantes.
Relasia.
Ambassadors,
Okay.
please, order. The chair recognizes Ambassador Bazovi of Markovia.
Allow me to make this perfectly clear. Without prior written permission from the government, Markovia categorically forbids entry to any vigilantes or so-called heroes.
So yeah, as you saw in that last shot there, Dick's little superhero team of kind of alternative outsiders is entering Markovia. And we're already kind of dealing with some of the court politics of the episode, because you see that Prince Brion, who is kind of our protagonist in future Geoforce, disagrees with the idea of letting his uncle be in charge with his brother Gregor. And we do have it suggested by Dick that chances are someone in the royal family had to participate in the assassination of their original king and queen. We also get to see a little bit of Superboy and Black Lightning being ninjas, which is actually really, really fun, because Superboy, who was originally the member of the team who was horrible at stealth, is now like downright Nightwing-esque in his whole thing. They infiltrate the Markovian Children's Hospital, start looking around, quickly find the room with the black tar and all that stuff, and get chased out by Plasmus, who, unfortunately, we find out is A, working for Count Vertigo, and B, Otto, brother of the young girl who was introduced for all 30 seconds in the last episode before she died. So Black Lightning's being chased by the brother of the girl he accidentally killed in battle. We then cut away from that lovely little story to see that, yeah, this is a DC Digital Service, so we have a mass grave. That's evil!
Cover them up.
DC Digital, man. It's a new world. Luckily, Artemis is in the area getting geared up when it turns out that actually one of those young girls there, who looks an awful lot like Halo from the comics and her power usage, is not quite dead yet.
Shovel faster!
And she's a witness too. So Artemis takes Halo away with her as they try and escape the bad guys. We cut back to Black Lightning and Superboy, who are almost out when things go bad. Number one, apparently Black Lightning's diving skills are just not quite up to snuff. And number two, Plasmus is right behind them. Oh! Wow, things went bad real quickly. Vertigo, who has suddenly become a lot more detestable now that he's a human trafficker who, murders kids to get their superpowers and sell them as slaves, starts, kind of like investigating and figures out that, so this is Superboy. I'm going to put him in a little canister like we did at Cadmus, like you mentioned earlier, and presumably torture him or give him to somebody, or use him as a political prop to try and say that the League is interfering in, government business or whatever. But, kind of sidetracking the story, Prince Brion, it turns out, not only talked to Dr. Jace, his family physician, about becoming a metahuman, but she put him in contact with Dr. X. And when Dr. X reveals how he'd turned Brion into a metahuman, Brion reacts in a way that tells you that he's going to be a good superhero for this show.
What are those? Those are the metamorphosis pods. I like to think of them as cocoons, where caterpillars go to die. I was going to say, to become butterflies, but the process can be a bit hit or miss. Traffickers. Stealing sick children from a children's hospital. They're not all sick. How many children have you taken? How many have you murdered? You're upset, I understand. But allow me to explain. No! I want no part of this. I was a fool to come here. Gregor and I, we'll shut you down!
Yep.
Do you really know how your brother would react? More people are fine with this sort of thing than you'd imagine. Sedate him. Stop!
Now, Count Vertigo's pretty peeved at this and uses the fact they're on the DC Digital Network to explicitly threaten to kill Dr. X if he doesn't explain himself. Dr. X quickly recovers and says that, hey, I was given orders to do this by somebody. Yeah, just ask Dr. Jace. At which point Dr. Jace enters, and we see that things are not quite what they seem.
Dr. Jace, how long were you in there? Did you hear? I think there may have been some confusion about our orders. Wait, no. What are you doing? No, stop! Vertigo, just say...
Calm down, Simon. I know what I'm doing.
So she planned for this. So she's either the one who did this to Terra, or she's trying to help him, get the same powers as Terra out of a guilty conscience, but she's probably guilty. Now we see Vertigo call his boss, whoever it is, the next person up in the chain of authority, and he says the phrase, Your Highness. And unless that's Queen Bee, that means either Prince Gregor or his uncle is the bad guy in Markovia. And let's be honest, it's probably going to be one of those, because that way they can set up Terra as kind of being like this angry, ticked-off, betrayed princess, and Geoforce as being the guy who has a legitimate reason to oppose his brother and his uncle. We also see the heroes getting ready to go in and try and rescue Superboy. While Nightwing will go through the front, because he can, we also see the rest of the teams going in through the back. At which point, Prince Brion finally wakes up to realize he's going to transform into something. He doesn't know it's Geoforce yet, but he will soon. Okay, so is it Gregor or the uncle?
What's going on? Stop this! Let me out! Dr. Jace, help me! Please!
Don't worry, my child. It is all for the best.
Man, that's creepy. So, yeah. That's the second episode of Young Justice, straight into a plot that involves espionage, superheroics, human trafficking with all the ugliness that entails, and, court politics. And it's really, really good. I love having this show back. Greg Wiseman honestly brings a higher level of storytelling, ambition, and execution than most of the live action TV shows we've seen, and I'm including some really good Netflix Marvel shows here. And, to be honest, Flash Season 1 and Arrow Season 2. His game is that high. Now, there's some other things I noticed while this episode was going on that I think need to be pointed out. Number one is the fact that while Dick Grayson is, getting his team together, they don't know about Oracle. Now, I'm betting this is for later because chances are that the reason Barbara Gordon is Oracle is the same reason Jason Todd is dead. And they want to kind of keep them on the back burner. Now, what makes this interesting to me is that we know that Dick's not really with Batman and forming his Outsiders group just yet. He is still part of the Justice League, still uses League assets, just flies under the radar. I'm kind of curious if maybe Dick's group is going to be, I don't know, some kind of like Suicide Squad, Outsiders hybrid with the Young Justice concept, because that might be an interesting idea, and it would make sense if, say, he's so autonomous from Bruce that he now actually uses his own information source in Barbara. It's fun to think about. Also, we now have a team that will include Halo, will include Geoforce, and Nightwing. So I'm feeling that's going to be kind of our Outsiders team edition, whereas the Batman edition of Outsiders will be the other group, which is still really awesome. Well, I'll see you next episode and post it as soon as this one's over, or at least as soon as I can. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.